Focus on you until the focus is you. How Stoicism reclaims your power. There's a moment that eventually comes for all of us. A line we quietly cross when we finally get tired of waiting. Waiting for someone to notice us, to recognize our work, to give us permission to shine. Maybe you've been there, or maybe you're standing in that exact place right now. You've been showing up, giving your best, hoping that someone will say you're enough. You've made it, or simply, I see you. But the truth is, that nod, that approval, that stamp of validation might never come. Not because you're not worthy, but because the people you're waiting on are just as lost as you once were. That's the wake-up call. And it's also the invitation. What if you stopped waiting for someone else to give you the green light and gave it to yourself? This is not just a pep talk. It's a philosophy, a way of life, a mindset forged in fire by ancient thinkers who, long before social media likes or performance reviews, understood the truth about validation and where it really comes from. Today we're going deep into that philosophy, Stoicism. Not just as a concept, but as a practical guide to getting out of the waiting room and into your own life. Most of us aren't tired because we're overworked. We're tired because we're overextended emotionally, searching in every direction but inward, chasing approval from people who haven't even approved of themselves, measuring our worth using rulers that were never designed for us. A powerful example comes from a client I once worked with, a creative director at a big agency. Let's call her Amanda. She was constantly grinding, producing amazing campaigns, but still felt invisible. Her exhaustion wasn't about deadlines, it was about self-doubt. She admitted one day, I don't even know if I love this work anymore, or if I just love being told I'm good at it. That's what we're talking about. That ache inside that says, am I enough? And the Stoics? They had an answer. Stoicism teaches us something both simple and revolutionary. Your worth doesn't come from outside. It comes from living in alignment with your values. People like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca weren't interested in applause. They were interested in virtue. In the kind of life that feels honest, regardless of whether anyone is clapping. Stoicism says, stop outsourcing your self-esteem. Every time you wait for someone else to say you're doing okay, you hand over your power. You become dependent on the unpredictable winds of others' opinions. It's like building your house on sand, one gust and it all comes crashing down. The alternative? Building on solid rock, your choices, your principles, your actions. That's a house no storm can shake. Let's bring this into real life. Think about how often you open your phone just to check if someone commented, liked, shared, or followed. How much of your day is dictated by feedback loops that are completely outside your control? Now imagine taking all that mental energy and using it instead to learn something new, build a skill, write your story. There's a man I met named Victor who deleted all his social apps for a month. Instead, he journaled every day just for himself. I didn't miss the dopamine hits, he told me. I started craving something deeper. Truth. And that's what Stoicism brings us back to, truth. The unshakable kind that doesn't require applause to feel real. There's a mirror in all of our lives. Not the one on your bathroom wall, the one in your mind. And every day it asks you, are you living for them or are you living for you? We tend to use mirrors to adjust how we look to the outside world. But what if we used them to see ourselves more clearly inside? Epictetus would say that's the real reflection we should care about. The reflection that shows whether your actions match your principles. Whether your life is your own, or just a performance. I remember once watching a young YouTuber, only 19, talk about why he was quitting his growing channel. I built this audience trying to be who I thought they wanted me to be, he said. But I don't even know who I am anymore. It was heartbreaking, but it was also honest. That kind of truth takes courage, and it's the kind of courage Stoicism demands. So how do we start living from the inside out? Start small. Begin each day by affirming your values. Ask yourself, what do I want to stand for today? Maybe it's integrity. Maybe it's kindness. Then at night, reflect. Did I live those values today? Another method is journaling. Just 5 minutes can change everything. Write about what you did today that made you proud. Not what earned applause. What you know was right. That kind of self-recognition is the soil in which self-respect grows. And then there's boundaries. One of the most powerful forms of self-focus is saying no. No to things that drain you. No to roles that shrink you. No to approval that costs you your authenticity. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is this: you have power over your mind, not over external events. Accept this and you'll find strength. Think about how much of your anxiety is rooted in things outside your control, what they'll say, what they'll do, what they'll think. Now ask, what would happen if I let that go? You'd make better choices. You'd sleep better. You'd feel lighter, more focused. I once coached a woman named Jenny who had been stuck in a job she hated because her parents approved of it. Every time she thought of quitting, she imagined their disappointment. But when she finally made the leap and started her own design studio, her exact words were, "For the first time, I feel alive in my own life." That's what happens when you focus on what you can control: your decisions, your direction, your voice. Let's talk about self-care, but not the fluffy kind. I'm not talking bath bombs and spa days. I'm talking about serious, intentional self-maintenance. The kind that involves rest, boundaries, learning, and reflection. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, strategic. Because when you're operating at your best, mentally, physically, emotionally, you're better equipped to live a life of virtue and service. The Stoics didn't believe in burning out for the applause. They believed in building a foundation so solid that the world could rest on it. So rest. And when you do, don't feel guilty. Feel powerful. Imagine your character is like a startup. You don't build it overnight. You build it through daily, intentional choices. You invest. You test. You iterate. You stay consistent. Virtue is no different. Discipline, courage, patience, these aren't talents. They're muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they get. When you commit to growing these traits, not for recognition but because they reflect the kind of person you want to be, you become someone you're proud of. And that pride, that's the only kind that lasts. So you've heard the philosophy. You feel the fire. But how do you actually do this? 1. Set personal goals that are for you, not your boss, not your followers, not your parents. Write them down. Make them clear. 2. Observe your own behavior. Start noticing when you're acting to impress versus when you're acting from alignment. 3. Take one small action a day that moves you toward your vision. Don't wait for motivation. Let discipline carry you. 4. Say no more often. Every no to the wrong thing is a yes to your right path. 5. Reflect weekly. What did you learn? What did you practice? Where did you grow? 6. And finally, protect your inputs. Guard your attention like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Choose content, conversations, and communities that build you up. If this message stirred something in you, don't just sit with it. Act on it. Start with one practice today. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's turning off your notifications. Maybe it's saying no to a request that doesn't align with who you want to be. Whatever it is, make it real. And if you found value in this journey, join our growing community of thinkers, seekers, and soul builders. Subscribe. Share this message with someone who needs it. And come back, because we're just getting started. This isn't just a video. It's a movement. One where we stop seeking approval and start building lives that deserve our own. Focus on you, until the focus is you.